All right, let's talk Saints, Luke. I think for me, the biggest storyline, of the last couple of weeks has potentially been the health on the lines of scrimmage, both of them. What can you tell us about first the offensive line and how healthy they are?
Well, I think they're getting better there. I think there's a chance Andres Pete plays this week. He was out of practice yesterday. He was out of practice the last 2 days, actually. He was in a cast, but I think he's working his way back. I wouldn't be surprised if he's out there. Teron Armstead is getting a little bit better kind of day by day. And that guy, even at 80%, I think is better than a lot of left tackles in the league. So they're good there. The defensive side is a little bit different. I mean, obviously they lost Marcus Davenport and Sheldon Rankins for the season. They added a couple guys to that group. They brought up Taylor Stallworth from the practice squad. He was on the team all last year. They got a former high draft pick in Noah Spence, who was inactive last week, but they're not quite the same. And they're going to have to rely on some of the depth they built up there this offseason to make up for the two key players who were done for the year. I think that could be something that hurts them down the stretch, and I'm kind of looking forward to see how they do against basically a defensive lineman playing running back this week.
The other thing that helps your defense out is when your offense is just scoring at a prolific rate. And I was in the Dome on Monday, and watching Breeze chop up that Colts secondary was truly unbelievable. But the question I want to ask you is pretty simply, how does Mike Thomas get so open when the second option is not even close?
I have no idea. I've been trying to figure out all year how teams have not been able to scheme him out of the game. We saw it last year a handful of times. He had an incredible year last year, but there were 4 or 5 games where they put double coverage on him the whole game. They had that safety help over the top, and they played that press man coverage, and he was held to 4 catches for 40 yards or something like that. That hasn't happened this year. I think he identified what teams were doing, and he figured out a way to beat it himself. I don't think anybody can cover that guy one-on-one in this league. I really don't. I'd be curious to see if Stephon Gilmore could do it up in New England. He's about the only one I could think of that would have a chance. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were just saying he's not fast. Obviously, that was a big knock against him coming out of Ohio State. But he's so quick in and out of his breaks that it's impossible to keep up with him on the field. And then when the ball's in the air, he's a bulldog out there, and he just goes and gets it. He's such an impressive player.
About to put Derek Stingley on this guy.
I was about to say that.
Stephon
Stingley could cover
Gilmore,
him.
what? Come on now. Look, we've been ranking. Hunt's getting blasted for his rankings of top 10 best LSU games of all time. Well, I want you to do rankings. You don't have to take all day with it. You can just spout them out and give a thought. Your 5 NFC teams, if I guess people consider 5 teams to be good. Obviously, the Saints, the Packers. You can throw the Vikings in there, and then quite clearly the Niners and Seahawks. So we've got 5 teams who are in that double-digit win and above range right now. How do you order them from everything you've seen this year?
I would probably put the 49ers number 1, just because I think the Saints have not. They just put together their first real complete performance of the year last week. I want to see them do that more before I can say they're the best team in the NFC. And the injuries kind of throw a wrench in those plans too. So I'll go 49ers 1, Saints 2. I'll probably go Seahawks 3, Packers 4, Vikings 5.
It's coming from a guy from the Chiefs State
That's
as
right.
well. And obviously the Saints would prefer to stay home for the playoffs and not head out to San Francisco or up to Lambeau Field. The Titans next up. It's an 8-6 team. Kind of resurgent here with a new quarterback. Kind of a couple of keys to the Saints and Titans game this weekend.
Yeah, I think first and foremost they've got to kind of contain that big play offense they have. Since Tannehill's been in there, they've been connecting on a lot of shot plays, and Derrick Henry for such a big back busts a lot of long runs. I think that's kind of driven their offense. And their offense is what's driven their rebound this year. Since Tannehill took over, I was looking up the numbers yesterday. They're number 5 in scoring and total offense. They're number 2 in passer rating. They're number 1 in yards per play. This is a really good offense, and I think the defense is going to have to play a game that's a lot more similar to last week's game against Indianapolis, even though they got some help from Jacoby Brissett, who wasn't very good in that game. They're going to have to play something a lot closer to that than they did against San Francisco, because I think this offense can put up points on the Saints defense. So if they can keep A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry in front of them and avoid giving up those big chunk plays, I think they have a pretty good chance, because I don't think the Titans defense is going to do much to slow Drew Brees and company down.
He is Luke Johnston, covers the Saints for The Advocate. You can follow on Twitter @ByLukeJohnson. We appreciate a few minutes, Luke. Have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy the game.
Yeah, always a pleasure, guys. Thanks.